The Republic by Plato. Absolute, ultimate classic, mesmerizing, and indeed too too much to say for a brief note, but there it is. There would be a possibility to come back to this with a further note, but it's also true that on one hand we have this fabulous piece of philosophy and political analysis, but on the other hand, it is a bit overwhelming and at times difficult to read for this reader, at least. Now the question is what to insist upon, the marvelous construction that proved right, or the wrong, perhaps terrible ideas. A mixture of both will do it, I'd say. At the start, to perhaps to prove the comprehensive, extensive range of preoccupations of this marvelous philosopher, he even talks about what to do when you borrow weapons or something from someone, and then he turns out to be crazy. Do you give it back or not? Well, there's an issue there. Then he suggests the model for the republic, for the ultimate, absolute city which would have everything under control. Children will not just be born and grow up to be adults, but everything would be under supervision. It would be very well organized. Those who, so to say, deserve to have children would be encouraged to have them. Eugenics, that's one bad side of what came down from Plato. On a side note, genetics might interfere, and it might be worth fiddling with some genes when you know that there's an embryo with potential problems. There are ethical issues there. We'll see if humans decide to play God. They do in many ways, actually. So women would be in common, children would be in common, and there will be fake lotteries and other means um, to promote the good genes, so to say, to have those who prove valiant, father as many children as possible. There will be a false propaganda. That's perhaps the beginning of it, where people would be told all kinds of stories with gold. These men have gold in their composition, the others have silver, and so on. And then at lotteries, as I said, they will be tricked, and they'll say, he's been valiant in battle. He won the right to have access to this woman or these women. Oh, how do you know which are your children? Because there's also the issue of not having the parents have intimate relations with their children. It's a good thing that he's much against that, but then he says, well, they will know that all the children 7, 8, 10 months from now might be their children, and they're addressed as their children, and the children will address them and as parents, and then grandparents, and so on. That's a weird, absurd society, and we don't have that, luckily. But then, as we move on, we have the few models proposed with a monarchy, which is supposed to be the best in the view of Plato, and he has something there. The UK is one of the best countries in the world, even after Brexit, so there's a point there. And there will be a few others in Europe, Belgium, and some others. and which live well. Oligarchy, where the rich rule and the poor are just unimportant. Democracy comes after oligarchy, interestingly enough, in the view of Plato. Um, it's undisputed, well, unless you're in Russia, Korea, or whatever, that democracy is the best model we have at this point, with its flaws. So here we can agree that there are imperfections, not that democracy is much worse than monarchy, which is absolute in the view of Plato, by the way. If we look at America, there's a choice between Trump, which is terrible, and it shows how millions of people can vote, and Clinton, who's also the only choice, but not really so appealing if we consider emails and other things. But the only choice, but still, this is all a democracy, the best, greatest democracy in the world can produce it. Makes one think. But as Churchill said, it's the least of all evils, or the best there is. It's a bad system, but this is the best we have. And it's not only there that in America that they show shortcomings of the system. There's Berlusconi, and the Putin is popular, by the way. He controls media and all that. So he has unnatural, unfair, injustice advantages, but still 70% or so people agree and vote for him, if not more, 85%. It's unbelievable, but true. There are other important issues discussed: wisdom, justice. You have to have a just life, because here again we would disagree. Then at the end you meet the gods, and then just are sent to the right, the good place, and on the left you don't want to hear what's going on there. You pass in silence, and it's terrible. That we don't have that anymore. Even if we're religious, we don't believe in the gods of Plato. But still, the insistence upon virtue with a different meaning: justice, being good, not worshipping money, not going after money. That's the last one is even proved by positive psychology to be a wrong thing to do. Studies on lottery winners show that you win $1 million or more, but after a few months, you come back to your base happiness level. As I said, huge area of analysis, and we can only touch a few notes on that, and maybe come back later on.